Hello everyone, it's me Onion, the DM for Rune, the Dungeons & Dragons and League of Legends crossover campaign, and I'm here to give you a recap of what has happened up until episode 49, because we're about to get into episode 50, so what better time to just remember what happened during this crazy year of Rune. So, first of all, what is Rune? Where is it set? Right now, the first chapter of this crossover campaign is set in Ionia, the first lands of Runeterra, which is the world in which League of Legends lore develops. The story here is written by me, and the characters are obviously created and unique to the players. So, how did it begin? It began in the port of Welly. There is where our heroes met, the first 4 to enter this campaign. 2 of them came from outside in a boat that came from Bilgewater, Bryto and Corno. Bryto, a Demacian human with a strange past in which he actually ended up learning some magic from Soraka herself, and so he is the cleric of the group, a Starcaller cleric who shares many abilities with his master. And with him, a Yordle named Corno, who wore Demacian armor, Petricite armor, but had one goal in coming here to Ionia, which was to get big sword that is supposed to exist there. So, Ionia is right now post second Noxian invasion in a state where there is Noxian presence here, and a lot of the coastal territory, especially towards the western side of the islands, is taken by the Noxians. So the port of Welly is protected by this strange mist that stops people from coming in, because, well, outsiders bad when you're under attack. But these 2 that came on that boat seemingly managed, through the guidance of the spirit of Ionia, to get to the port of Welly, which then in turn allowed them to get inside the main island. So there, in Welly, in an inn, they end up meeting a Vastaya named Sade. She is the rogue of the group. Corno was a fighter, by the way, but she is the rogue of the group. She's a strange fox Vastaya with a few changes. Her tails, she only has 2 tails, and they're flowing with the color and not exactly static, which leads to believe that there might be something else there. Then, they also met the Way of the Shojin monk Torbjorn, who is originally from Freljord. In that inn, they got into a small fight, as you do, and managed to beat the crap out of the guys there. And then they met Akali, who had been waiting. She had been spreading word all across Ionia that she wanted to assemble a team. Someone to take action in these troubling times for her lands, because the Council of Ionia, which is sort of the ruling entity here in this country, was being too slow. And she taught our friends that there were a few threats to Ionia, actually. There was not only the Noxian threat, but also the Navori Brotherhood, which now had developed into this sort of like roguish group that despised outsiders and attacked everyone that wasn't from Ionia, and had a more military view of what Ionia should be. And also the Order of the Shadows, the ancient enemies of the Kinku Order, and the responsible, or the main people responsible for the corruption that Ionia was going through in terms of magic. This is. Our heroes accepted Akali's offer to become her team, and then they sort of went through what Akali would consider to be their tutorial in a small village nearby, where they ended up eliminating the corruption that affected that village. There was this strange disease caused by what seemed to be a corrupted crystal that was affecting the waters, that pretty much would guarantee that the crops of the villagers were actually watered. So after they fixed that, Akali came in again, delivered their reward, and gave them their next mission. They were to eliminate the Brotherhood, and to do that they had to eliminate the brothers that were on top of the hierarchy of this organization. Over there in Sung-An, which was the name of the village, they also met this strange character of a man named Phileas that had a magical eggplant. Yes, and this is relevant for the future, so hold on to that thought. And then they went to the city of Vlanko. There were two of the brothers of the four that they had to take, Vex and Rordan. Now, Vex and Rordan were a Yordle and a Conluy Vastaya. Conluy Vastaya are pretty much like rhino slash bear people, and they were around that area. These were the two brothers that were ruling over the city, and were very, very important to the Navori Brotherhood. Besides that, our heroes found out that the sword that Korna wanted was also in Vlanko nearby, and so they would tackle two birds with one stone, and would be able to just complete the mission, or part of the mission, and also complete what would be Korno's goal. Now, a lot of bad things happened in Vlanko. They blew up an explosives warehouse that Vex had. He was an explosives maniac, pretty much a pyromaniac, and wanted to blow everything up. Rordan kind of acted as his bodyguard, while he was more of the brains of the operation. They end up blowing up their explosives warehouse, angering Vex and Rordan, but not only that, also exhausting the power of a great guardian they had with them, which was one of the Vastaya Shirei. She went by the name of Lady Sue at the time. After they eliminate the threat of the Brotherhood in Vlanko, which they end up being able to achieve by baiting them into the same dungeon where they got the giant sword, our heroes then face a choice. They have to either stay or go back to the start, or look for a Kali, or move on to the next goal, which would be take down the person responsible for recruiting the Brotherhood's armies or more trained forces. They end up choosing that, and so with some extra information from Master Kennen, whom they meet at the time, and Adadal, a Vastaya, a Lotland Vastaya, was pretty much like Zaya and Rakan, has feathers and stuff, like half bird, half human. They meet them, they get some information, some assistance from them, and then finally they head on towards Aiko, which would be the port city that would lead into the island of Olin, where this Brotherhood leader would be. They reach the port town of Aiko, and there they're offered a chance by one of the Woodweavers to help. There was this creature there, a jeweled protector, which are pretty much flying tiger, has wings and has this sort of like crystal structure on its head and on its back, across the spine, or along the spine, and things go south slightly. In an attempt to fix the problem without killing the creature, this creature had been corrupted and was murdering villagers. The group makes some bad decisions, and what seemed to be an easy fight results in an almost death of a lot of the members. So, as a result from that, Porno, having risked his life a ton for his friends, decides it was too much for him. He already had his sword, so he decided to leave, even after saving everyone. The BDC then, which is by the way their name, the Big Don Club, they decided that they had to move on, and so after taking a little bit of time to gather their thoughts, they move on from Aiko into the island of Olin, where they end up facing Wugan, the leader of the recruitment facility the Brotherhood had there. They once again take him down and move on to the last one. Iskalar. Now, Iskalar is probably the smartest out of all of these brothers, and he is in the city of Pubo to the north of Ionia. He has locked down the city completely and has left almost no space for an attack or offensive from anyone. He's a very, very secluded and sort of hermit type of man. He's just been keeping to himself and his experiments, but there are tales of him capturing and imprisoning Vastaya for some of these experiments. Our heroes go in there into Pubo. They manage to sneak inside, and with the help of some Freljordians that live there, they blow up the whole town, pretty much, through the tunnel system that lied underneath, in order to cause distraction for them to go in and free the prisoners, and then finally take Iskalar. They receive some help from Kennen, who teleports Irelia and Akali and Zaya and Rakan into a fight that seemed lost, and then move on to Iskalar and finish him. After they do so, a strange character named Ainil shows up. She has this sort of white robes and a white hood and cloak with red highlights. And with her, a Kilash Vastaya, half lion, half man. This Kilash Vastaya is named Vongoth, and he had killed all of the Freljordians that were casting a snowstorm over Pubo to confuse Iskalar's troops. Ainil gave them some last words, and then she left in a smoke that took the shape of a black rose. Now, along their journey, our heroes had met a strange person who had helped them find their way back to Iko, Karabsels. Karabsels was also present here, tempted to check on our heroes, as she does quite often, but doesn't reveal anything and just throws more enigmas at them. Quite annoying. She ends up just talking to them for a bit, throwing some more confusion in the mix, even though Torbjorn does manage to detect some hint of deception in her. So our heroes almost figured her out, but couldn't still. After Pubo was saved, at the cost of many lives, they managed to grab everyone, and Kennen teleports them to Ionia City, which is the capital of Ionia. There, they gather up the Council of Ionia with the Eye of Twilight Shen, with Irelia, with Karma, and with Master Indra from the Way of the Harana monks, and Master Zhuxia from the Way of Shojin monks. There, through a strange turn of events, and due to the fact that Braito had already died a bunch, but came back to life magically twice, our heroes managed to get Braito into the Council of Ionia as an honorary member. Braito had already achieved his goal that he had when he came here to Ionia, which was to meet his mother again. He walked the path of transcendence at the Placidium of Navori and managed to talk to his mother once more. Then, in that moment, he figured out that his mother was actually a celestial who had come down to Earth, much like Soraka, and so he had half celestial blood. Hence him surviving death so many times. This connection that he found with the person who suggested he would be part of the council came from Kindred. Kindred, the spirit of wolf and lamb, had noticed Braito and sort of struck a bargain with him. And Indra appeared to share the same connection, and so in a quick glance between both, they found common ground. Braito accepted and became a member of the council. Now, after this, our heroes had some time and some choices to make. First, they refused to take Pubo under their wing, which angered Irelia. Irelia seemed to want our heroes to control Pubo so she would have a foothold into making Ionia stronger through the military. This anger caused her and Akali to split from the rest, and together they created another organization. Our heroes went and finally chased a few of their own missions or their own quests that they had for themselves. First of all, Sade managed to find her long-lost friend Ari in the Temple of Volpo, one of the Vastaya Shirei. There, she had an encounter with the demon Argath, the Scorpion Emperor. She had been previously stung in a dream, and there he talked to her and expressed his wish to kill all of the Vastaya Shirei, and that he had been the one who killed Volpo in that same temple. As this led to the strange demon, our heroes decided to go and chase after clues that they had of Phileas, these strange compasses that they had acquired magically. They had an eggplant that pointed always to the west, or to the southwest, I should say. There, they end up finding Phileas after a few encounters with illusions and things of the sort. They end up finding Phileas, as he was the champion of fighting pits that were apparently Ionian controlled by this guy that went by the name of the Boss. After they get to the finals, Phileas completely dominates them with this demonic magic. But our heroes realize they were in fact under an illusion. An illusion created by the demon Argath. This demon who seemed to be able to control lies and control what was perceived as the truth. Then, as the illusion broke and Phileas revealed himself, there was also a Vastaya Shirei. Kiarashimu, the one who originated the Shimon Vastaya, pretty much Wukong's race, was there with him, and was the cause of all of that illusion and the one who was manipulating Phileas to use Argath's power against himself. Apparently Argath was a demon that had loved the spirit of Ionia, but he was imprisoned by the Vastaya Shirei as they used the spirit's power to keep themselves alive and pretty much just sucked Ionia dry of its magic. Now our heroes had met another Vastaya Shirei, Ophel, and they thought they had killed him by Sage showing her hand to this creature. Sage had been bearing this mark ever since the temple, and the mark proved to be lethal to Ophel, but apparently he did not die. So our heroes, after finishing off Kiarashimu and freeing more of the spirit of Ionia, return to Ionia City, where they finish off Ophel, freeing even more. Then, after that, they find their way south in order to meet Shen. The Eye of Twilight had been gathering monks in Wuju village to be able to face the Order of the Shadows and their threat towards the southern islands of Ionia. As our heroes reach the port of Weli, they are met with Vongoth once more, Einil in a very different corner. Now Vongoth had previously caused damage to our group, as Vongoth killed Akali. And Vongoth stopped the group from managing to get some extra information on Noxian spies through Talon. As Vongoth continuously frustrated our hero's efforts at gaining leverage or advantage in certain areas, he was now standing in front of them at Weli and holding 3 bags that he threw in front of them. These 3 bags were bloodied and contained the heads of Ari, Master Kennen, and another person that they did not recognize, but they end up finding out later was Yasuo, Adadal's master. Adadal being the Lotland Vastaya. Now, after our heroes end up in a skirmish here, now with a new member, Eclipse, alongside them. This Eclipse guy who was pretty much Bryto's childhood friend and was just thrown into this mess without knowing anything and just trusting Bryto. They suffer a little bit of damage. I mean emotional and physical damage, but they end up moving on and going into Wuju village. As they get there, they meet Shen, who was sort of protected by this barrier that created a different realm almost within the village. And he gave them their new mission. To eliminate the Order of the Shadows in the Southern Islands, they would have to first of all find this man named Vogue, who had been in prison recently in Tula, and they would have to eliminate all corruption threats that were spreading towards the Southern Islands, one of them being a corrupted mountain dragon. Heroes accepted the mission and went on it. And at their first obstacle, this crystal that was corrupting these two creatures that were attacking a nearby village, our heroes come in first contact with Vogue, as Thorbjorn and Sade get their mind invaded by him. So, now, after they have met their threat, the threat has invaded their mind twice. Our heroes are heading into Giunia to face a corrupted mountain dragon and to face and defeat one of the members of the Council of Shadows, Vogue. If you want to know what happens next, watch episode 50, because it's going to be great. Any questions or any things that you guys want to know, you can always check my stream out and I will answer any of them. And also, we have written recaps that you can ask for during the stream. There's commands and stuff for it. Thank you very much for all of your support. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it wasn't too confusing, but we're always available to help you figure out and understand D&D and understand our little campaign that we have here. Here's to 50 more episodes. Goodbye.